All right, diving right in today, we're going to be looking at the 2025 Global South Financiers Forum,
Mm.
which just recently wrapped up in Beijing.
Yes.
And this was hosted by the Xinhua news agency,
Right.
and it brought together a lot of really important people,
Yeah,
government leaders, finance leaders from over 30 countries.
that's right.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So
Thanks,
I guess
Jenny.
maybe to start off, could you give us just like a little bit of a background on like what was the point of this forum?
Yeah, so the forum was really all about figuring out, how all these different countries in the global south
Okay.
can work better together when it comes to, financial stuff.
Okay.
And usually when we say global south, we're talking about countries in,
Yeah.
Latin America, Asia, Africa,
Right.
places that are kind of on similar paths when it comes to economic development.
Gotcha.
So our goal today is to kind of look at, what were the big takeaways from all the discussions?
Yeah.
Why does any of this matter, for the global economy?
Right. 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 Because I think sometimes we can underestimate just like how powerful these economies really are.
Absolutely.
When we talk about the global south, it's a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And if you combine all their GDPs,
Yeah,
they actually account for over 40%
that's right.
of the world's total GDP.
More than 40%.
That's wild.
It is. It is.
And you know what's even crazier is
What's that?
they've been responsible for 80% of global economic growth
I know. It's amazing.
in the last 2 decades.
It really is. Yeah,
So, like, they are a major driving force.
absolutely. And this whole idea of them, working together more closely on the financial side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really important right now.
Yeah.
Especially because the world is getting, more and more complicated.
Right.
Like things are changing so rapidly.
Yeah.
And for these nations, it's becoming more and more crucial for them to kind of be able to rely on each other,
Yeah.
and work together on these financial matters.
Totally. And one of the people they had speaking at this forum was Inayat Hussain, who's the executive director of the State Bank of Pakistan.
Right.
And I thought he made a really interesting point.
Yeah, what was that?
He was talking about how, like, countries in the global south, they kind of have a better understanding of each other
Oh, yeah.
than maybe some other countries do,
Right.
when it comes to like resource limitations or capacity building needs.
Yeah, I mean, they face similar challenges.
Right.
So they can relate to each other
Exactly.
on a different level. And that's what's so fascinating about this whole concept of South-South cooperation.
Yeah.
It's like, they're coming together to develop these, financial strategies that are specifically designed
All right.
to address the unique challenges and the opportunities that exist within their economies.
Yeah, I thought that was a super interesting point. And another person with a really interesting perspective was
Oh, yeah? Who was that?
Yamil Berisayers, the vice president of the Central Bank of Cuba.
Okay. Yeah.
And she brought up a really important point about like the bigger picture of international finance.
Right.
And she was really emphasizing the need for reforms
Mm.
and, for making sure that financial cooperation
Yeah.
is built on principles of like fairness and inclusivity.
Right. Making sure everyone benefits.
Exactly. And I think that's reflective of a larger desire
Yeah.
for a global financial system that, really works
Totally.
for the global south.
Yeah. A system that's more equitable.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, we can't talk about all of this without talking about China's role.
Of course not. They're a major player.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were really highlighting their efforts
The forum, yeah.
at the forum to build what they call interconnected financial bridges,
Yes.
which is a cool phrase.
It is.
But what does that actually mean?
But it's all about creating ways to, make it easier for money to flow between countries. Encouraging more investment
Gotcha.
and even setting up, financial institutions that are jointly run by multiple countries.
Okay.
And a great example of this in action
Yeah.
is the Silk Road Fund.
Okay.
Over the past 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
they've invested over $25 billion
Wow.
in more than 100 different projects.
Wow.
And these projects are all over the place.
Okay.
Asia, Africa, Latin America.
Wow.
So this is like real tangible evidence of,
Yeah.
of this financial cooperation happening.
That's amazing. And it's not just about like traditional infrastructure either, right?
No, not at all.
they're really putting a big emphasis on green development.
Huge emphasis, yeah.
Which I think is super important.
Absolutely.
And China's been very actively promoting green technologies, and they've got initiatives like that South-South Cooperation Fund,
Right.
which is specifically focused on tackling climate change and making sure that, as they're doing these Belt and Road projects, that they're doing them in a way that is sustainable.
Yeah, in a way that's environmentally friendly.
Exactly.
Which is crucial.
Yeah.
Absolutely crucial.
So taking a step back and looking at the big picture here, what is the significance of all this?
Well, I think the experts at the forum, they all seem to agree that, the more these countries in the Global South can open up their financial systems, the more they can work together, the better it's going to be for everyone.
Okay.
It's going to lead to better integration of markets. Resources will be used more efficiently.
Right.
And ultimately, these countries are going to see stronger, more sustainable economic growth.
That makes sense.
And that's good for everybody.
Totally.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap up everything we talked about today, I mean, it seems like the big takeaway from this 2025 Global South Financiers Forum is that there is a very strong and growing commitment to financial cooperation among these nations.
Yeah, they're realizing that they're stronger together.
Right. And it's being driven by this, this shared understanding of the unique challenges that they face, this push for a global financial system that is more equitable.
That's fair.
And concrete steps that they're taking in areas like infrastructure development and green initiatives.
Where they're putting words into action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear that, this growing financial strength and cooperation within the Global South, I mean, it has really big implications.
Oh, absolutely.
For the existing global economic order.
It's a potential game changer.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's a question I'll leave with everyone listening.
Okay.
As this collaboration continues to grow and deepen, how might it end up reshaping the power dynamic?
That's a great question.
Of the global economy?
Yeah. How will it change the balance of power?
Right. And how might it even change the entire architecture of international finance?
Yeah. It's a fascinating thing to consider.
It really is. It's a development that could have really far-reaching consequences.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
This was really interesting.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
All right.